I messed with this yesterday and I found another little thing. So I set up my old one and I got everything tightened back up. So hopefully I can just keep using this one. I don't like to just discard things, you know. Yesterday I was standing in my kitchen. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm in my own little world. But I looked up anyways and I saw this because I have a bunch of pigs up on the shelf because I like pigs. And I have this piggy bank that has been mine since, I guess, my mom gave it to me when I was 1 year old, and I still have it. And when I looked up there, and next to it was they're like these little jungle tribes people. They're so cute. And one of my friends gave them to me. I think I was like 18 or 19, and she gave them to me as a gift. Could have been when I was 17. I don't know. I've had those for a long time. I have my original doll, my Raggedy Ann. I have my mom's original doll. I'm just somebody who saves things. Like I had my original hairbrush for a long time until it got lost or broken or something. Somebody might have stolen it. That's what happens to a lot of my stuff too. Somebody will just take it. It's so weird. But I save things. I try and fix things. If I dry my hand with the paper towel, I don't just throw it away. I set it so it can dry so I can wipe the counter off with it. Like I reuse things, you know. So anyways, there was a couple things that I wanted to talk about besides that I save things, and I don't even remember why I was saying that. It just yesterday when I looked at that, I was just, how many people have been carrying something around them for 60 years? Like I just think a lot of people, just everything in this consumer society just becomes so disposable. And they feed off of that consumerism, the disposable consumerism. So we're constantly needed to go buy more, buy more. And they convince you in your mind, you need to buy more, buy more. And it trips me out. So I can't get this out of my head. So every time I kept thinking about, what do I need to talk about today? What do I need to talk about today? This won't get out of my head, and I have no idea where it's going to go. I don't even know if it's going to even go past what I'm going to say. I guess we'll see. But it's something that to me, even when I was going on TikTok this morning, it just seemed redundant. It seemed like everybody just keeps saying the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. It's like, oh my God. And, that's the thing is like, they think they're awake because they're talking about, it's like you're awake once you realize that what you're talking about doesn't matter. Then you're awake. It is this whole thing of coming into your mind's reality of realizing that this is a game. You're not in something that can really happen. It is to make it feel like it, so you can understand the pressure. Like, what would be the point of going in if you didn't have challenges? Like, it is, I don't know. There's just, I don't know. You just see this nonstop panic. And then you have this other thing that I got to talk about. There's a couple things. So one thing is the more I tune into my guidance, the more you really tune your ear in, the more you start noticing the nonstop, grab that. Oh, do that. Look, this is about to happen. Oh, think about this. Oh, remember this. Like they're doing that all the time. And the more that you tune in and stay out of your mind of circulating and kind of like, to me, it's like spinning out thoughts. It's like where you just start spinning out on something, you're just replaying it and going over it and stuff like that. My necklace. So many people on my TikTok videos are always commenting on my necklace and asking me about it or whatever. So anyways, now I've just become more aware of where's my necklace. So anyways, so people just get in their own heads and are spinning out. And right now people are just spinning out over, oh my gosh, the currency, what do they call that? So when you have to be a good public, what is that? A good, the word I'm hearing is all, I can't get it in there. So anyways, it is just being compliant to the government. And then you get to have money But then also they're going to tell you what you can spend your money on. Like people just go deep into it and start freaking out. And then you got the people with these things that are just like the voting thing. Like it's just so repetitive. Like they just get on these things and they just spin out like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's like, oh my God, you just don't even know what you're about to deal with, because the awakening, you're stuck. They get to a point. I keep saying this, and it's just so, think of it when you see and hear some of these people, how stuck they are. They don't know how to jump past that and start going more. And I bet you, because this is one thing too, is how many of these people you see so concerned about that, but they're eating they go drive through McDonald's and grab a box of granola bars and stuff. Like some of the stuff I hear people say, it's like, what? Especially like you're out here preaching like you're all awake, but then you're doing, it's like, oh my gosh. So I just see so many people. I've got so much still to wake up to. And then you have the people who are just so trapped in the thing. And so yesterday I was, whatever I was doing, I don't know. I'm just, I swear, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Just do a little of this, do a little of that, do a little of this, do a little of that. Just kind of like try and get through the day. It's like as each day drags out with this intensity that is building us towards this flip back kind of thing that's going to happen with the energy. But it's like really building, and it's like is like these people who are just stuck, just go and hit the wall, hit the wall, hit the wall, hit the wall. It's gonna break, and then it's gonna go, and then they're gonna have to see everything else, because they're so, I mean, I still see people who are eating, drinking, breathing air, drinking water, all of these toxins and chemicals, but then they're just concerned about this, and not even concerned to try and help people. Like I can't even tell you the amount of people I have seen now crying about their health is destroyed because they got these, reaching out, asking people, what can I do? What can I do? I'm and young people, man. It's fucking heartbreaking. But that is what the people have to go through. Like I went through the brain injury. Nobody could do anything. Nobody could help me. I had to help myself. I had to overcome. I had to reset my life and go with the flow. It wasn't going to be like it was, but it was going to be something different. But I had to, I had to jump on the boat. I had to stop being out there in the water. What happened? What happened? Why isn't it what I thought? And jump onto the other one and take it where it was going to take me. And so that's the thing, is people have to see your life just changed. Now you have to go with the changes. And it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to get over, no shame. It's fucking hard. I've said this all along. And there's going to be a lot of people who can't do it, who can't get over it. They're going to get kicked out of their old life, and they're going to struggle so hard in so much confusion and so much despair and sadness that they can't even think of life being okay, going in another direction. They're just going to stay in their loss. And I think those people, well, it will kind of be a variety. I think some of them will go into the healing time, which I just saw a guy talking about, like when I was talking about the squatters and stuff, like you got to start figuring out how to save yourself. Well, apparently people are going in and squatting and just taking over places, and the feds are coming in and arresting them. This is what I'm saying, is when the system hasn't caught up with us claiming our rights, the people who are in the system, who are still being misled to contain and control us, they don't even know. They're like zombies. They don't think for themselves. You got to be thinking about like the cops and stuff that are playing the game. They are just following instructions. They're just doing what they're told. They don't think it through. They don't know the rules. They don't know their own rights. So when somebody's saying, go arrest these people and stuff, then they are doing it, and it's not okay. But that's what I said. Like there is going to be some shit. Like Chicago already, they have a vigilante group, a huge group of black men. I didn't see one single white guy, but I think probably Chicago is a lot of black people. That's why they're just blowing it off like, let them all kill each other. Who cares? And that weirdo lady person who is running the show over there, she's just evil. Jesus Christ, I saw the other day her doing, like, she was out doing some sort of, I don't know, like karaoke or something, and it's just like she's just out having a whole good old time. It's like your goddamn state's falling apart, bitch. So, anyways, this vigilante group, and they even have an outfit. They all wear the same outfit. It's looks kind of like some sort of maybe a jogging suit. It was dark when they were walking. It was huge, and so they're taking over, patrolling their city. That's unity. That's community. That's like, hey, let's all come together and let's move this in another direction. And that is what everybody has to do. Those are the challenges, to come together. Okay, well, we want safety. So what do? We'll come together. We'll create it. We'll go out as a group. And there's such a huge group of them. I can't imagine, these other smaller gangs trying to. And plus, I would think when it's your own community, you have a little bit more of like, you go up and talk to the people. Like if they're trying to cause chaos, it's like, dude, this is where we live. What kind of place do we want to live in? And do you want to be the one who is ruining everybody else's world? Like you gotta, and the thing is so many people are just so trapped in their mind that they don't really realize what they're doing. But that's not to say you could go confront some of these people and they're not going to just pull a gun out and shoot you. Like, people have gone completely mental. I saw a guy walking across a bridge, just doing a video of this fucking cool-ass bridge. I don't know where it's at. I don't even know if it's in this country. But it's this really cool-ass bridge with these, like, big light things going over it. And I would assume that's what he was showing, but I don't know. But so he's showing that. And these guys on the other side of the bridge, and it's like no road. No cars are on the road. So it's like probably 3 or 4 in the morning and it's real empty. But you could tell this bridge probably has major traffic. So the guy jumps over. There's 3 guys on the other side of this bridge. And then one of them starts yelling at him, like, what are you looking at me? Blah, blah, saying all that kind of shit. And pumping his chest out, from across the thing. Jumps over the thing, starts chasing the guy. The guy starts running. All just because he looked at him. And he wanted to kick his ass. Luckily, this guy was far enough ahead, he could run ahead. And then one of the other guys in the group was talking the one guy down. But he was chasing him, ready to kick his ass just because he was out there. And that is the thing. You run across these people who have got so much pent-up anger and so much, or they're just out of their minds right now. It's dangerous. And it really trips me the fuck out. Like, I saw this lady yesterday, and she was... I've never seen her before. And she was, talking about she channels Anunnaki or something like that. And she's sitting there with her husband. And so she says that the Anunnaki are coming. They're going to be here. They're going to take away the dark. They're going to take away, I don't even know what else she was saying. Like, whatever she was talking about. But then she goes, so you just really got to get out there and enjoy your life and go. And we're going to go to, I don't know, the fair, concert, whatever it was, which is fine. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who their soul's telling them, go out and enjoy your life. And it could be just because this is the last bit of theirs. I know my guides tell me, stay in, protect yourself, and rest. Stay out of the chaos. And so I listen to mine, and, but it just weirds me out when there's this energy and stuff out there and people are saying, get out there, go out there and have some fun. And it's like, I'm shocked when I see these concerts. Like, I keep seeing people sharing like they're at these concerts live and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, it's weird to me. Just like, so this, yesterday, so I was doing whatever I was doing, and I heard in my head, and I think it was said, but when something is said, like, this happens all the time. I just can't even tell you. Like, yesterday, even something I said about Trump, about the dinner table, about dinner talk or whatever. And then yesterday last night I was looking through TikToks and somebody did this one and of him talking about like his dinner time talk with his uncle of how he knows so much more and stuff. And I was like, see, like, it just trips me out. But so I heard something about be firm in your no. Know what you want for yourself. No, don't be pushed because somebody else wants you to do something. So whatever it was, however they said it, and it was said on the TV and stuff, however it all went in, I knew I was going to be asked again about the babysitting. That came in strong. And so I was just like, what? Why would they ask me again? I've been clear about this. Like, and so then I think it was like I don't know, an hour later maybe. I'm not sure of the exact time between, but I get a message. And this is where people don't see themselves, but they are so clear. Like, you're so clear. You show yourself so clearly, but they don't see it. Just like, okay, so last week when she asked me if I would babysit, and she gave me a list of dates or whatever, and I just went into the first one and I said, I have company coming, and if you run into an emergency, but she'll have to come over here because I've got stuff to do. And then I wrote a second message. So I just put that one and said about the babysitting. And then the second one, I said, when my kids were small, you network with the other moms. You find who they play with. And then there's moms that stay home more or something, set up little, set up networking with the other moms. And so I kind of said something like that. It was real brief. I didn't give some long lecture or something. Just a little thing. Like, that's what I did. No response. Nothing. Didn't hear anything. And then, and that was, I think that was on the whatever. It was like on a Wednesday for Friday or something, or Tuesday. So last week sometime, and not heard anything. Then I went to the food bank, got the food, and I got some food for them. Because I know, every time, I give them some stuff, they always say thanks. And I just know they eat a lot of processed food because I've been over there. I know what the kids eat. I just know what goes down. And it is a lot of stuff that is not good for you. A lot of stuff, just eat a bag of Cheetos kind of situation. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. This is how people who are in the system, in the mind trap, in the game, this is how they work. I did the same thing. So I'm not trying to say like she's bad. This is where it's becoming more clear to people. But not everybody has the same clarity at the same time. Everybody has their own soul process to go through this. And I know the things that stand out to me are the things I'm supposed to talk about because it helps other people to see it in their own lives. So they eat a lot of like junk food and processed food and stuff like that. And so, anyways, when I go up there, I don't ever get that stuff, but I'm allowed to. So I will grab some and give it to them, like little boxes of macaroni and cheese and stuff like that. So anyways, after that, she didn't say anything. And when I left a big old bag of food, and then later, I think in the evening, I might have even been to bed, but she said, thanks for the bag of food. And I said, you're welcome. So then all those days went by. So everything went by. Then yesterday I get that message, be strong in your know what you want, whatever, however they said that. It was just really confirming, really bringing it back up to me. And then a little while later, I get a message. And this is where, you can see through people's games. And I knew there was something else that was going to back it up. But so she says something about, I hung that little thing out on this is just out of the blue. This is out of the blue. So I haven't been talked to for these days. And then all of a sudden, so I hung this address thing out she had to get a new address thing. That's the thing too, when you go into work and you think you're working to build your house up, but you're just always consuming. You're always well, I need a new one of these. Oh, a better one of these. I think if I get one or two of those, you become consumer. Well, you go to work, you deserve what you want. But it is all this re-looking at things. And so she says something about, she had to get that new address thing, and she hung that one out there, and she was saying something about, like, you can use tape if you need different numbers. It's like, my address is next door to you. So I was just like, okay. I still haven't gone out and got it, but I'm not going to run out and go. I'm fine. So I was like, okay. So then a second later, it was like, so can you still babysit tomorrow for Molly from 8 to 3? 8 to 3, that's all fucking day, right? That's all day, dude. I'm not looking for a job. I think I made that clear. And not only that, when I was asked, I said the most I could do would be a 4-hour in an emergency, because I have my own things to do. It's like, it blows my mind how people don't, because I don't get it. Like, how people think, like I've got nothing going on. You can't, because you're not in my house and watching what I'm doing, you just assume I've got nothing going on. Jesus Christ, that one day, that Friday when I said my daughter was gonna be here, I was on the goddamn phone all day. I mean, it is like, I'm not shitting you some of the time, where it's just like you're constantly walking someone off a cliff. Like, you've got to talk them down. You got to help them walk through what they're going through, help them to calm down and stuff, It's like, that's not the only person in my family that's got a crisis. And so, to me, and I've got my own shit going on. Like, I have my own stuff, like, focused on my own skills, building up to how I'm going to take care of myself, because I see what's going on in the world, And it is, okay, you want to drive the school bus, then we'll see how that works out for you. But it's also so many hoops jumping through, because this fucking job was supposed to be, my daughter's going to go to preschool. She really wants to go to preschool. And so I am going to go so I can get a job up there. So it's like I'll have a job, or I'll have more money. My husband won't have to work so much, but he still is going, hours, whatever. It's 4:30 in the morning. He's about to leave and head on down, and then he'll be back later in the evening. It's like the entire day gone. And then so she wants to go, so her daughter can go to preschool. She's going to drive the bus, but now suddenly she's got to go to work all the time when her daughter can't be at school. It's like, and there was some things that were just different than me, just naturally. Like, when my kids were small, I stayed home for a long time, and then when I decided my relationship was unbearable, I was going to commit suicide if I didn't get the fuck out. And I went back to school so I could get a job, so I could take care of the kids without a person, because I had already been divorced when I was younger, and I recognized that it was just me. I was, being a single mom is hard, and you cannot rely on anybody else. You have to be able to take care of yourself. So that I went back to school to become a nurse, and even when because we broke up for a while, then, he wanted to fix it, and we got back together. But we always made it like he would work in the daytime, and he was construction, and he was a boss and like a foreman or whatever. And so he would go to work and do his, and then I would go when he was getting home. So he would get home like around 3:30. The kids would be getting home around 3:30, and I would have left to go to work. Like, I think the hospital shifts start at 3, and so I would leave before they got there. For the days I would work, I tried to get it down to where I was just like working 3 days. I was doing 12-hour shifts, which kick your ass, man. Kick your ass. So I tried all sorts of things like that, but I was like, everything inside of me was like, we need to always have a parent at home. I didn't want to have that, like, no, like the latchkey kids, it always broke my heart because there was lots of those kids around. With the one of the blanket, the whole set that I'm going to go take down to the post office, because I still got to finish that story. But that is one of the kids that my daughter was always hanging out with, who was one of those, a kid coming home and was all by themselves all the time. And she would come over to our house all the time. So anyways, I'm going to go send her a box because she just had the baby. And she's had several. And that's where I'm like, there's something with the dosing, and there's something of who they gave the most to, and I think it's very directed, but we got to just continue to watch how things play out, because there's plenty of girls in that same socio status and age range that are, because I just watched one who is falling apart because she's a school teacher, had them all, and now she got the dreaded disease, even though she was all, and it kicked her ass. She got so sick. But, that's the game, that's the mask, that's the beard, is she's getting so sick from all the chemicals and the chemical buildup, and, and then and now they have shown too that all those tests was putting more poison into people, but that was said like in 2020, and I kept telling my kids, stop doing the test, stop. The tests are just positives, don't fucking do them, but you can't get through to people. So when she sends me this message that from 8 to 3, if I can babysit, I was just like, oh my God. And it was really like, oh yeah, okay, so I get what you're saying. No, a no isn't a no to people who are in the mind trap still. They just keep trying to make it work, trying to figure it out. Like they can't, they don't hear you or something. Like me saying, no, I can't do that over the top. Me saying like, no, I can't, it's like nothing is going in or something. So she asked me about the 8 to 3, and I was just like, oh my God, damn. And I was like, well, if you can't find somebody else, but you're going to have to leave her car seat because I've got things to do. So, and then nothing back at all until I got up this morning. I saw, so after I went to bed, she left a message. I found somebody. So I was sitting there thinking after this conversation, I was like, okay, I see what, they're showing me. I understand what they're saying and stuff like that. And, she is, the things that they'll tell me or hear where I'm hearing, I am like, am I hearing them? Am I hearing their discussion? Or are they telling me what I need to be aware of and talk about? Or am I actually hearing what these people are talking about? Because I fucking hear shit that is weird. Like I hear shit all the time of conversations in my head. And so I was like, so to her, I'm inconveniencing her because I'm not readily available. Because when you're in the system and you are trying to survive it, it is like you're just reaching for, and everything that is not there for you to grasp onto is a problem. Like she can't see her desires or drives or whatever. Like she hasn't seen that clearly yet. This is just the leading up to see it. It's like all the things that she has to see for herself, kind of, as it leads into this. I know I'm not explaining this right, for sure, but I can totally see what they're showing me. I can totally see it. So she is seeing, so she's being inconvenienced, but somehow can turn it as I'm being selfish, or I'm not being helpful, or I'm, she can make it about something I'm doing because she needs something from me. And so that makes her vulnerable, but then she can turn it on me as to, like, oh, see, she didn't even, nobody even came that weekend when she said, she's just making excuses. It doesn't motherfucking matter if it's just a motherfucking excuse. The answer is no. It's a big no. That's all you got to hear. You got to, like, if somebody's making excuses to you, if you think they're making excuses to you, then you need to realize, like, it's a big old no. As soon as an excuse is made, it doesn't matter what the excuse is, it's a no. There's no, oh, well, because they're doing this or no, they just are telling you no. Doesn't fucking matter. I just heard this girl saying, and she did it kind of like a funny one or something, but she was like, when you want to tell me not to be ghosting you, I just am pulling out because there's nothing else there. Like, but you want to keep putting pressure on me, telling me why, when really it's just a setup so you can explain things to me. And she said, like, do you really want to hear that I just think you smell like poop all the time? Like, and she goes through this whole thing. But really, yeah, it is like, do you really want to hear the truth? Do you really want me to lay it out there? It doesn't matter if I'm making an excuse. It is how I'm releasing this conversation. It's released to me. It's a big no. And, and then to kind of pretend like, well, I don't even know if it's pretending. I think that they just really don't hear, because like the last time we got in that big battle was all because I kept saying, your gate is open. Your gate is wide open. And she said, I was a liar. I'm like, your dogs are running down the street. She said, I was a liar. I'm like, I see them. She said, I was a liar. Your gate is open. No, you're a liar. I don't even know. But the thing is, when I had said that, it was kind of like, well, let's just see where this goes now. So I've said, you need a car seat. So at this point, where you're willing to go to dump your kids off on somebody else, and I'm not saying like she's trying to dump her kids off. I'm just saying, as the energy is here, you take them. I got shit to do. So it's dumping your kids off on somebody. So you already have decided, I'm abusive, I'm a liar, and I'm crazy. And yesterday, so I was waiting to see, like, is she going to turn around and say, okay, I'll leave the car seat. Yeah, because I thought that's another one that you have to play your mental gymnastics to work around, like, why you will leave your kid with this person. Like, she knows I have a brain injury. I've probably mentioned I'm not even supposed to be driving. I mean, and I'm aware of that when I get into cities, like the city traffic where I don't know the area and I don't know the roads. Even when I go into Bellingham, some of the roads are so wacky that is where I get really confused. So I stay out of those situations. I know what I can do. And I can drive up a freaking state highway where there's no goddamn cars or anything. No, like, where you have to watch this car, watch this light, watch all that stuff at once. I can just, it's peaceful. It's not so much chaos. In the city, it's total chaos. And besides the fact, just all of the different things you have to watch and the signs and all the stuff, now you have people just freaking out and overreacting and freaking the fuck out on everything. Like, I swear to God, people have lost their minds. But this is why when the vibration of the planet changes, people lose their minds, because they're too low vibration, so they can't handle it. And that's why I said those kinds of people are going to be transitioning. It's like when the game levels up, when it flips the other direction, that's the big old level up in the game, where you go into a whole new level that you have not played yet. And it is very difficult. It's way more challenging than the levels you've already gone through. And you know how challenging that's been so far. And then you're going to go into one that is very challenging. It is going to have to do with having to face yourself. And that is very, very difficult. Nobody knows it until they do it. And so the people who are low vibration, the ones that aren't there, the ones that have, given up, the ones that are angry and just violent and stuff like that, there's going to be like a culling. There will be this energetic separation, but it's not going to be the event like what people are thinking. And I don't know if people are going to look at this like the rapture and the next part like the tribulation, and then it goes to heaven and earth. When you look at the different translations of how people reference what is about to happen. But to me, I've already explained that how I see it. This is going to be the Great Awakening. This is going to be the truth coming out for everybody and their own personal truth, so that they have to face their truth so that they can heal, because that is the only way to keep leveling up. You can't stay at that unhealed position and level up through the game. The game's changing, and you have to be changing with it. And their challenges. It isn't easy. So that's why I say it really is like a video game. And I keep seeing these people talking about their cell phones and how people are coming up with different things. Now people are like, we are the AI in the cell phone. We are like all sorts of things. But anyways, while I'm hearing these people, I was like, I think our consciousness is controlling this thing. It has something to do with our consciousness and us realizing how much we actually control with our own consciousness. That is the expansion. And that is when we pull our energy back to control it for ourselves and stop giving it away to them to create the world they want. Because that's what they're doing, is just sucking our fucking energy out. And so when I was going through this with the neighbor, loud and clear, I heard, her soul, because I told you, I'm always looking at things from a soul's perspective. Her soul is depending on me to stay rigid in my own boundaries, to not be flexible, to not give in, to challenge her to have to look at herself, to challenge her to have to think like, so am I going to leave my kid with this woman who wants to go drive around, who's got a brain injury? I don't even know if she drives safely. And I already think she's abusive. I already think she's a liar. I already think she's crazy. I already think she's weird. So, but here, take my kid, because I don't have anything else to do with them. So you see what I'm saying? So she needs this boundaries so she can identify herself, like so she can see herself. And so it's just like the beginning. And I don't think she's to the part of seeing herself yet, of her own desperation to drop her kid off somewhere. I think she's still seeing it as like, oh, this person is in my way. They're not taking care of what I need taken care of, because it's part of that childish kind of development stage to break free from, you know what I'm saying? It is very kind of a childish way to look at things. And so I think she's still at that part, like, thinking I'm lying about the gate, thinking I'm lying about, like, I can't help her out. I'm just lying. That's the focus more of it, is what I'm doing wrong, instead of looking at herself. But see, those are the seeds. Those are the things that are packed away. So when the flip happens, she's going to be bombarded with all that stuff. That's why I said in 2020, when I started realizing how this was going to go down, which I thought it was going to go down way faster. Like, I did not think we were going to be, hear my freaking, my joints ratchety. I didn't think that it was going to take this long. Like, I swear to God, back in 2017, when I was talking about this stuff, I thought it was about to go down. Like, and it's about to be 2023. But I still know, because I've watched as this has been building towards this. This isn't going away. No matter how much people think like this is not real or it's going to go away or whatever. Which I just saw floods in Greece. Oh my gosh, it is as bad as Pakistan. It's bad. Like, it was had where the water was rushing and taking cars out into the ocean. It was like, fuck, it was bad. And that is not the only place. There's so many places in South America. There's so many people dying in these floods. So there's people transitioning in mass, nonstop. Like, that shit is moving in the direction that I'm talking about all the time. But I just thought it would be much faster. But so in 2020, when I started trying to speak to my kids, which I dropped this one yesterday too, I try, and so many people are doing these videos about Trump, but showing the truth about, him coming in and saying, hey, I'm taking on the traffickers. I'm ending this shit, and I'm taking them all down. And then some videos showing like what has been going on and stuff. And so I thought, well, one daughter, the one that was supposed to come, she is waking up and she's got a lot of stuff to face, but let's see how awake is she? How much ready is she to see the truth? And so I sent one of those, and she was like, I'm not, or something like, I'm not engaging, or something like that. I am not looking at this, or something. She definitely said she's not engaging. And I was like, There's no engaging about anything. It's like you have to start seeing that you limited yourself on information, and you've only got half the information, and you're basing how you look at everything on half the information. Man, that information is very manipulated. So, you're going to see the truth. There's nothing I can do about that. That's going to come. So we don't have to engage about this at all. We don't need to talk about it at all. The truth is going to be shown. That's fine with me. I just wanted to kind of do a little monitor. So is she there yet? Can she really start? Like, she can sit there and say, like, the government sucks, the news lies and stuff, but have you really wrapped your head around what's going on here? And so I just blew it off. But back in 2020, when I started waking up and seeing what was going on, and you got to remember, I was coming from a progressive liberal. I was an activist. I was at the marches. I was always protesting. I was active, trying to do something to make the government change what was going on. And I was involved with groups that, drove to the Capitol and went in and marched and did a sit-in or something. I don't remember all the shit. But anyways, I was more involved like that. So I was, I was firm or whatever in my beliefs. And then 2016, when they all started saying, oh my God, what if he wins? Oh my God, the world's going to be ruined and all this stuff. And they were all freaking out. And then is when I first started having a lot of time on my hands, and I was reading all the comments all day long. I would sit there and read all these comments and these conversations, and it really opened my eyes because it was people that I wouldn't normally talk to. So it was really expanding my consciousness, seeing through their eyes. And so I was already awakening to that, but I still didn't see him as like the good guy. I still saw him as like a pompous, arrogant, like I can do whatever I want, I'm rich kind of guy. And I thought it was just kind of a dick. But when they kept being concerned, I kept saying, well, this is what people have to go through. This is, the world needs to blow itself up to reset. It has to be shown. They have to see and stuff, like the way, that I would talk about it or whatever. But I could see that. But people, when they're not awake, they don't understand really what you're saying. They try and translate it into a format that they understand that is about a three-dimensional perspective. And so they couldn't understand what I was really saying. So anyways, and then we know what happened, and won, and then you start seeing like, oh, well, things are getting better. Like, he's helping the farmers. He's doing certain things with the corporations and the miners and all of that stuff, and bringing our manufacturing back to America, which I grew up, and I remember when it left, and it was not good. And so I, and I never listened to anything he said. I was one of those people who cringed at the sound of his voice and thought, can't he afford, if he's so fucking rich, why is he going this weird tanning bed that turns him orange? I kept thinking, like, weird. But then you find out they were doing that on purpose with the color to try and make him look orange to us, like, so that they could come up with Orange Man. Like, they're so manipulative. It's mental. So when he was doing that, when the sickness started, and I knew with my medical background that they were lying. I was like, lie, lie, lie. And yesterday when I was talking to my daughter, and I said, well, I already know that you didn't have any respect for me. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I said, well, I had a degree that was a science degree. I was a nurse. I was working in the field, and everything I said about medical, y'all called me a liar and told me I was crazy. I'm not talking about this right now. Do we really need to do this? Like, no, we don't need to do anything. There's nothing you need to say. This was my healing, what I had to go through to realize that people didn't have respect for me or listen to me or whatever. That was my healing. That was my thing. I'm over it. I don't care. Like, you get to a point of loving yourself. It's like, I don't care. I don't care. So anyways, she was, you know, she was defensive about that or whatever. But back in 2020, when I started seeing the truth and started telling them, and then I was right away, I was crazy, I was a racist. I couldn't believe the stuff that I started getting told. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was the same person 5 minutes ago that I am right now. Like, what are you talking about? How did I suddenly change like this? And it was like, I'm telling you, it was like they couldn't even hear anything I was saying. All they could hear was the certain trigger words, and they created such a reaction. And that's where I started seeing, like, oh, like I started seeing through, like, oh, so this is what they're doing. Because why in the world would my kids? And then I started putting it together the more you learn, you know, about the school and the system and the indoctrination and the, you know, extending school, extending your learning. And I started seeing it and started putting it together. So I stopped in 2020 saying things that I knew that they were going to end up feeling regret about, that I wasn't going to keep pushing them and be their wall to bounce back off of, because I knew that that was going to carry a lot of hardship. And so with my awareness, I had to pull back from that, especially to be attacking your mom like that. It was like, man, that's something that's going to slap you up in the ass real quick. It's going to hurt when you all of a sudden feel it, when the truth comes back to you. That is going to be a painful thing, that you did that. That was inside of you and you did that. And it's not like I'm trying to manipulate it, but maybe I am a little bit. But I just was like, the universe will play this out. I don't have to participate. I'm not going to keep trying to tell them things, because it's just going to make them have more things to regret. This is their stuff. The universe, they'll figure it out. The universe and them have their own plan of how they're going to awaken. But I just didn't want to give them extra things to be super depressed about. But I could see yesterday, you know, with her, the neighbor woman, and her to keep asking me, and like, a no doesn't mean a no. It just means like, oh, well, what about this one? What about this one? It's like, dude, I don't have time to just raise your child so you can go drive a bus. I'm sorry, I don't. I've got things of my own to do. I'm not trying to be mean, like your life doesn't matter, but my matters more to me than yours. I'm sorry, it's just the facts. My time is valuable to me. It's not fucking worth 20 damn dollars. Like, and it doesn't even have to do with money. I don't value money like the people who are chasing it. And the chase is on with the people who are still in the trap. They're just like, oh, gotta get more, gotta get more, gotta get more. It's like, dude, you gotta see what the fuck you're chasing. You're blowing everything off. You're blowing your whole life off to chase this thing that is you're about to see it turn into dust in your hand. And then it's going to be, what was all the chase about? What was I doing? What was I willing to blow off so that I could get some of this dust and hold on to it, watch it blow away out of my fingers? So I was like, you told me loud and clear, you know, you have got to stay strong in your boundaries, because that you can't be flexible. Like, okay, well, you know, I know you're having a hard time. Okay, I'll do it. No. And besides the fact, when you go do stuff like that, you're going to end up being mad at yourself. So then if you do stuff like that and you are mad at yourself, that is because it was a trigger and it was something you needed to heal. So if you get yourself in that predicament, don't be down on yourself and hard on yourself. Just go in and heal what it is. Why was I willing to give up what I wanted, what I needed? Because I thought this person's stuff was more important than mine. It's just to keep trying to really get into the importance of you. And everybody has to do that for themselves. You can't make somebody else important for you, and that's going to help them. No, it's kind of like a feeding frenzy for sharks. It's never enough. And that's part of how our whole system has become this consumerism. It's not just about buying things. It's everything. It's like the consumption of one another's energy. Like, you see this happening. And so she's going to have to face her thing. And luckily, this morning she sent me that message. When I very first saw, because when I got up, Stella was just relentless last night. When I went into the bathroom where I'm keeping my phone plugged in now, and I just touched it, and it was like 3 a.m, and that notification popped up. And as soon as I saw her name across the notification, I was like, oh, motherfucker. Don't even fucking tell me that you're about to say I'll drop the car seat off at 8 a.m. Like, God, please. certainly you've got your stuff managed better than that. Like, you got to start seeing, like, you got to stay home with your kid. Like, what are you talking about? And, but it did. Like, she found another sitter. It's like, okay, whatever. Cool, cool, cool. So I'm not going to worry about it. But I do know that they told me to stay strong in my boundaries, because just like the thing about the light, when you are the light and you are standing with someone who's in the dark, and remember, this doesn't have to be physically, like I have to go stand next to her at the fence to let my light go in. It's stuff like this. It's being in the light and setting boundaries and knowing about the love. That doesn't mean anything other than I cannot babysit. Whatever you want to attach to that is up to you. But I'm saying I've got things to do my own self. I don't have time. This is like a time in my life that is about me. I already raised my kids. I already moved further away because I didn't want to just be a babysitter for my grandkids. I wanted more of a relationship. And I thought being further away, that when they came to visit me, it would actually be like, oh, I want to spend time with you. I didn't want to just be, somebody's sit on the shelf until I need you. It's like, no, that's not, I want more for my life. And so, but being here, where I thought this was going to be like this ideal place in this, this cute little place, which I thought it was further out in the country. I didn't realize it was right in this neighborhood. But then what they are doing to transform this neighborhood, and then the whole passive character of the people that I live around, and then but not just passive, because they're aggressive in other ways, super aggressive. So those are all things that they all have to see. I think I'm sucking in air or something. So anyways, so she, okay, let me think what I was saying. So if, anyways, I'll just go back to that. So me being firm in my beliefs, in my standing strong on my own self, that is teaching something without teaching something, but it's on a soul level. It's not like, it's like those seeds being planted. And so anyways, for her, it is because there is a thing about being in your orbit. So for my kids in 2020, like I would have had to go out of my way to try, and I still send them stuff, but it's not to the degree like I was before. And so that was me pursuing, like, it's kind of predatory, to keep sending stuff or something. But see, this person is in my orbit. Like, they are right here. They are in my orbit. And so to me, on a soul level, there's no accidents. There's no accidents that during this awakening that she would end up being next to me. And it's going to be a part of what she has to face in herself. There's like so many things like that they show me, like in such a more, but anyways, so my awakening, or her awakening, will be more affected by me being right here. And so she will have things that she has to face that will have some sort of link to me. Like, just like this, to keep asking me when she thinks like, oh, she's got nothing to do. She can do it. She can, and then plus thinking like, oh, if I give her this, that's one thing too, is a lot of times people think, well, if they give you something, then you owe them. You don't owe anybody anything. Is if somebody is giving something, you need to give something freely. If you're giving something and it has some sort of associated contract with it, then you're being manipulative. And so that's something each person has to face, though. So see, me being strong in my own beliefs will make her have to face her own, because I'm not playing the game. I'm not going in and playing the game with her. So it's going to make her have to face herself sooner. So I really know on a soul level, she's depending on me to be strong in my own stuff so that it will help her so that she can start growing into being awake. Because I'm telling you, it trips me out when I am around some of these people who are so deep into this 3D matrix reality, whatever you want to call it, they're living in the dollhouse and they can't get out of it and they're happy in the dollhouse. And I don't know, if there is going to be families like that when this goes down, that the whole family's gone, or if and they just wanted to come here and play this part, or if, their whole family's going to break up, or, I don't know. Is one person going to leave? Is two people? It is so crazy because you don't really know, like, what's got to happen, like how, like it's weird. Like, how do you just continue to stay and not even think about anything? Like, it trips me out how these people just get up and go to work like nothing's going on. It's like everything is going on. The whole world is changing. How do you just keep going around and just pretending like everything's fine? I just gotta get to work. Can you watch my kids? It's like, it really is. I'm not telling you. I feel like I'm in a fucking episode of Twilight Zone. It trips me out. But anyways, just be really strong in how you don't be pulled. Don't be flexible. The more you stand strong as an oak tree and believe in yourself and believe in your own boundaries, and don't be flexible, but also don't be constantly trying to force your beliefs on somebody else, because it won't just be coming back to haunt them. It's going to haunt you. Like, if you look at it like this way. So if I would have persisted in 2020, just you guys got to listen, and I was like, I got kind of nutty in 2016 or 2017 when I knew that the event was coming and I knew all of them were asleep, but I didn't really understand what sleep was. I just knew they were cut off from their souls, and I knew there was going to be this splitting that was going to happen, where it was going to be, if you weren't in a spiritual mindset, if you weren't working on yourself, you weren't going to go further. Like, there were certain things I knew, and it got me like panicky, like where I was constantly, you guys. And that's where it was like, oh my God. And it was like right after my brain injury too. So not directly after. I had to go through a lot of healing and stuff. But when I did, that's what everybody had just thought. I just lost it. My brain injury, I'm just crazy now and stuff like that. So if I would have just, in 2020, if I would have just pushed on this stuff, then when they go through and giving them all of this like anger and mad at me and yelling at me and stuff like that, and I just continued, well, listen to me. You just don't know. Just listen to me. That's me trying to push my beliefs on them, trying to pry the kitten's eyes open. And that's not trusting the universe. That's not trusting the whole God sense, the Christ consciousness. That's not trusting that their soul is equal to mine. Like, there's so many things about that when you really get into it. But so if I would have, then say when their awakening happens to that point, and then they have to face themselves, then I would have to face how much stuff I had created by doing that. It would affect me too. So that is why you really got to be mindful and really be listening to your soul, because they really are trying to direct you and keep you in a place. Because when you do start feeding that panic, that fear, like what's going to happen? What's going to happen? They're going to die. They're not going with me and all that. There's so much stuff that you're not trusting. You're putting your beliefs over on somebody else. And that's where you got to release that. You got to let it go. To me, the important things that I keep seeing going on in this awakening is learning about balance, finding your balance on a spectrum of every single thing in the world, that you have to find, where do you fit? Where do you align? How do you balance yourself? And then about self-love, that is vital in this journey, to learn how to love yourself, because you truly, until you love and respect yourself, you cannot love and respect anybody else. No matter how much people think they do, they don't, because something will happen that will trigger them. You think you love this person, but they will trigger some pain in you and you will react. So it's not true love. You are living in this time of learning from each other, and don't just call it what it is. And then they want to push people into like, get married, and do this, get these traps so that you spend hours and years trying to divorce and split things up and stuff. It's just more of a chaotic creation for us. There's no reason for this shit. It's just part of the trappings of this world. But if you get yourself into a healing kind of loving yourself, you won't accept shitty relationships. And it does have to do with this balance of your masculine and feminine, to find both sides and keep yourself in balance of the protector and the giver, the nurturer and the protector. But the protector is protecting you. You have to protect yourself. And so learning about those things. And so, that is a lot of process, because so many of us went through life never feeling protected, never feeling like somebody was there for us, that we really had somebody who had our back. So many of us felt like, we're just out there on our own. And not only that, we got siblings we got to protect, and we don't even know what the hell's going on. So it was a lot of trauma that we carry from our childhoods for all different reasons. Everybody has their own experience. And so all of those things have to be healed. And you can see where people just stay. They keep feeding those things as they're awakening. They keep feeding those things and not letting them go. And it keeps them trapped in this illusionary world. And so anyways, through that process, those to me are the most important things for you to really work on. It is about self-love, boundaries, balance, mind, body, spirit, taking care of yourself. And one of the biggest things to me is all these people who think they're awake, they're so awake, but they're just so scared of everything. It's like, when you really truly get awake, when you are fully awakened, you will realize there is nothing to fear. There's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing that can truly hurt you. It is an illusion. And that is when you'll know you're really awake, when you're really, you're really ready to take it on. Because so many people, like I said, like these people are just so scared. And they just get like a broken record. Just repeat. And there is just so many of them just out there on this, and it's getting louder and louder and louder. And so it's all building and building. We got through this weekend and no collapse, but it sure is being talked about. Like, I keep seeing stuff pop up about the financial collapse, and that could very well be, because it would be that as it was collapsing, like, they're doing everything they can to just pretend like there's money there. When I paid those things out of that account, now the electric turned back. Xfinity said that they wouldn't take it. I haven't gotten a return from the house, but I'm still expecting it. But I mean, to me, the feds could come pulling out. I mean, when they're going and arresting people for squatting and squatters have rights. Homesteaders have rights. And they're going and they're making it a federal crime. It's all manipulation. They just manipulate all the time, and people continue to let it. And people have got to see, we do not need governors. We do not need people over us. We have got to learn how to take care of ourselves. We do not need corporations over us. We do not need anybody to feed us or protect us or take care of us. We need to learn to do it for ourselves. Then you live in a world that is full of harmony, and it isn't like where these corporations, they make themselves into the leader, like what we need. But then they turn around, oh, you guys need too much. Oh, look at what's happening. And then they go around destroying everything. But they've been doing that all along. They've destroyed every small business, everything, to make themselves be on top. Now, even on the top, now they're going to destroy everything just so that they can control us and get us to do what they want us to do. So they think like, well, we'll just take everything away from them, and then we'll just give them a little, crumbs. It's like they think they can treat this whole fucking giant planet as Auschwitz or something, and they're currently trying. They're destroying, they're killing, they're murdering, they're using their technology. It's crazy, but it's all building up, and it has got to be. We're definitely getting to the end, and I hope whoever it was that told me the 24th is when it's going to crash. You just hear these dates over and over. Now people are showing these Q drops or something with the 30th, where it said in there it would be the 30th of October. So I don't know. We've gone through these dates and so many times, and it's why it's so hard to even some of the times you just get so disappointed. You put all your energy into, and that is why I know it's written in stone. There's way too many dates we've all put all our energy into. If we could really change it, we would have changed it by now. We would have already made whatever's going to happen, because there's enough of us that know how to create that with our own consciousness. And it's not, because it's written in stone. It's destiny. It has to happen. And so it's going to happen. There's no getting around it. The energy has to go the other direction. It can't keep going the same direction. Kept going the same direction, we can see we would all be dead. There'd be none of us left. We'd all just be somewhere else. This world would be gone. And Earth does not want the same ones here. Earth is done with the abuse. The abusers will be gone. The abusers will be taken away. They won't be vibing with the planet anymore. So their vibration, their frequency won't be lifting. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Sometimes I just feel like I'm just going keep trying to say it in all these different ways, it just is hard to think like some of the stuff I'm saying, that people are actually hearing what I'm saying and not just hearing the words and trying to understand what they mean and looking at it through three-dimensional vision. Because anything that is said, you can look through it through so many different lenses. But the lens I'm talking about is a lot more it was a lot more based on the spiritual reality of how things really are, as far as I'm concerned. Other people, they're all trapped in the 3D world and think that's what it really is all about. But that's not just how I look at things. So anyways, hopefully I made some stuff that made sense. But just be aware. If somebody is pushing on your boundaries, stay firm. It's very important, because that is needed right now. We don't need to be flexible and keep giving. It's like giving drugs to a drug addict at this point. We're enabling these people to continue to participate in an illusionary system. And we have to, as we pull free, we have to stand strong. It doesn't mean you have to go out and, show them the data, show them all the evidence and stuff like that, because they can't see it. You're wah, 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 wah. But as you pull back, then they have to keep facing themselves. They have to, at some point, there's only so long that they can keep blaming others. At some point, it will come to them. And don't forget, the universe is going to do it in a big way on purpose to make everybody have to see themselves. That's the challenge. That's going to be the leveling up in the game. It's going to be, can I overcome this? Can I see myself? Can I truly accept myself? Can I move forward after I accept myself and accept everybody else? Like, those are going to be part of this new game that is going to be coming. And if you already have gotten to that, you may have other things that'll get brought up to test you, to make sure. But if you've already been working on this, is why I keep telling everybody, work on yourself, work on yourself. Be aware, but you also have to be aware of what you have control over and what you don't have control over. And you can't be in fear of what you don't have control over. So you have to release it. And when you have to release something, you have to have faith. You have to have trust. You have to know who and what you are and why this stuff is happening. And so there's just so much to learn, and it's all in the process. But in this next part of the game, when it flips, it is going to be, those are going to be the challenges of, can you persevere? Can you go over the, right now we're going through so many obstacles. It's going to be more of emotional obstacles. It's going to be more of, no, not obstacles. It's going to be more like an emotional minefield. So you're going to be, trying to go through a field that is full of bombs, and everywhere you step is going to be like boom, and you're going to have to face some aspect of self, but just keep it flowing, keep it moving, and don't be hard on yourself. And I know that is one of the big things. I mean, my daughter has already sent me messages. I'm the worst person in the whole world. No, you're not. You're just a person. Don't label yourself like that. Don't judge yourself. You got to release judgment, because as long as you're judging yourself, see how in the world, if you think you are the worst person in the world and you're going out in the world and somebody does something, how in the world are you going to not think, oh, they're even worse than me? They're worse. They're worse. Oh, these people are all worse. If you are judging yourself, believe me, you're judging everybody else. So this is a huge thing to release, is judgment on yourself. You have to see that you are here to learn, that there is no shame in not knowing the stuff before you know it. You have to allow yourself to learn and grow. You can't judge yourself that you should have already known that. You should have already done that. You should have done this. You should have done that. You got to release that stuff and process. And so anyways, that is going to be when the next level, that's going to be the part of the game is, really, really learning to love yourself and love others and respect others and accept others. And it all starts with all those things. You have to do them to yourself. And people think, oh, that's easy. I'm super cool. I'm super cool. But that's not the way it works. The universe is going to show you all the uncool parts about you. And you're going to have to see the uncool parts, the parts that other people see that you don't see. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.